All right, welcome to Willow Legal Group's group coffee chat. Oh, I need more coffee, obviously. Lindsay, why don't you go ahead and introduce our guest?
Yes, today we are speaking with Catherine Norton-Valverde. She is did I say that right? She's a luxury travel advisor.
You said it perfectly.
Good. She's a luxury travel advisor and founder of Seize the Trek, and I'll let her talk a little bit more about that. But Catherine specializes in the art of travel. So she'll pull out all the stops and use her 35 years of travel experience to plan your amazing bespoke travel experience. She's visited over 65 countries, and she's passionate about any travel, domestic or global. And whether it's a few nights in a hotel or multi-generational get-together, she can curate for her clients the most wonderful experiences and memories. She offers exceptional services far beyond designing your trip and is committed to elevating your travel experience. She specializes in group, individual, and multi-generational travel and is fluent in English, Spanish, and French. And I did not know that. Welcome to the show. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Bonjour.
We need coffee.
I am a bit of a Francophile, as you can see by my favorite pillow behind me. Is my Paris pillow that I love. Yeah. If you could see the rest of the room, it's full of things with Paris and Eiffel Tower and my happy place.
Awesome. I have yet to visit Paris.
I'm dreaming about somewhere warm, like with all this sunshine. This is, I don't know. I don't want to say the worst time of year, but looking outside and seeing it bright and sunny, you go, oh, it's so nice. And then you walk outside and then there's still 30 degrees.
Exactly. I just came back from 5 weeks in Naples, Florida. And every time it was 11 to 20 degrees here, it was 75 to 80 there. So it was very hard coming back home.
I bet. But tell us a little bit more about Seize the Trek.
Okay. Well, so many years ago, I tried to figure out how to monetize my love of travel. I adore travel. I've been traveling since I was 17. I don't want to date myself, but it's been a long time. And so several years ago, a colleague of mine said, why don't you become a luxury travel advisor? And I said, who uses that? I've always booked my own trips. And she said, well, believe it or not, a lot of people use travel advisors because of travel has become a little more complicated, especially since COVID. So during COVID, a lot of people lost a lot of money because they were using third parties and Costco travel, places like that. And so they've lost a lot of money, where the people who booked through a travel advisor, they had those kind of relationships that, they were able to get their money back. So I was like, oh, okay. This is, like I said, several years ago. And I was like, oh gosh, let me give it a try. And I just fell in love with it. I love my clients. My clients become my friends. Almost all my clientele is repeat and referral, which makes me happy. And I just love what I do. And I love to travel. And I love to talk about travel, and I love to think and plan about travel. So it is my passion. And I'm very blessed to be able to do something that, makes me so happy every day.
Yeah, you can tell how excited you get talking about it.
Yes.
But no,
throw it a place and I'll go crazy.
We'll quiz you later. But no, you brought up a really good point, because when I started learning about luxury travel agents, I said the same thing. Like, do people even do that anymore? But I guess it's that personal touch. It's that personal connection that makes it different, rather than just, my mom was a travel agent years ago, and it was not like that.
Yeah. Well, because back then it was more, processing tickets, because you couldn't go online and get an air ticket. So you needed a travel agent to process your tickets. today a travel agent, and we don't really call ourselves travel agents anymore. We're travel advisors because we advise you on our trip. We're not just taking an order. So many of us really do pride ourselves on being like doing those bespoke trips, those kind of one of a kind, instead of, something you can find on Expedia or any other, third party.
Right.
Well, I think having someone help take the decision making out of it or narrow it down. The hardest part for me doing vacationing at all is it's like another whole series of decisions that I have to make. And it's almost like planning dinners around here, right? What do you want for dinner? I don't know. Well, what do you want to go from vacation? I don't know. Like, well, there is no location called I don't know, at least not yet. There could be sometime soon, but it's like, so having a travel advisor who can help and just say, hey, this is what we're thinking. Can you help us with all of the questions and decision making and make life a little bit easier?
Exactly. And a lot of my clients, though, like to be collaborative. So they'll say, you know what, I saw this place on a show, a cooking show, or on some, in some movie, or, I really love to go there, or, I have some ideas of places I'd like to go. Can you tell me if I'm on the right track? So sometimes they want to be completely hands off and say, Catherine, here's my card, pick me out something fabulous. Or many times they want to be involved in the process. They don't want to do all the nitty gritty because it is a lot of work, but they want to have an input of, some of the ideas that they have. So it's not uncommon.
Yeah. And so I'm sure a lot of people think, well, this must be expensive, or traveling in general is expensive. So what kind of tips do you have for those people?
Well, okay, so travel can be expensive depending on how you go. I am a luxury travel advisor, so mine tends to be a little on the higher side. But in general, I call it the Starbucks rule. So when anybody tells me they can't afford to travel, I say, how many times do you go out to lunch a month? How many times do you go to Starbucks a month? How many times do you go out to dinner a month? Kind of like probably with a lot of wealth advisors and financial advisors, ask them also. And I say, well, you know what? If you cut that down, you don't have to get rid of it. But like, I'll give you a good example. I used to go to Starbucks like 5 times a week. And when I added it up, it was a couple $100 a month. When you set that aside, in a year, you might have enough to plan a vacation.
Right.
Between that. And again, I'm not saying never go out to dinner, never go out to lunch, but if you're going to lunch 5 days a week or 3 days a week, maybe cut that down one, pack a lunch. Or if you're going out to dinner 4 nights a week, cut it down to half. And I'm telling you, you will save. And also, you don't realize when you're shopping and buying things, we buy so much, excuse my French, crap. And say to yourself, I'm not going to buy anything for 1 month. And just every time you think about buying that extra pair of shoes or those pair of pants or another whatever, tchotchke, say, you know what? I'm going to take that money. I'm going to put it into my travel fund. And I'm telling you, within a year, you're going to have enough to travel.
Yeah, that's a great tip. And then
so
maybe
that's
even
a little bit of my, when somebody tells me I can't afford to travel.
No, that's good. And you could even set up a separate bank account just for that. Put it in there.
Exactly. And so you don't touch that.
Yeah. That's a really good idea. So one of the things you were mentioning before was you like to travel a lot. What do people, like, I don't have time. So we already addressed I don't have money. I don't have time to travel. I would love to travel, but I don't have time. What do you say to those people?
Well, when you say you don't have time, is it you don't have vacation time, or it just all depends? And there's smaller trips you can take. I mean, I'll give a great example. I'm doing a trip with a bunch of ladies, about 40 of them,
Wow.
on a cruise, a little mini cruise from Florida. And it's just a 4-nighter, 5-day, just to get away. And it's, a reasonable cruise. It's a Virgin Voyages, if I can throw that out there. Lovely cruise line, brand new, only a few years old. And, it's a great, you could do a long weekend. There's also, I want to say there is, and I forgot the link. There's this, if you Google it, there's a thing that tells you all the federal holidays and how you can get the most with the weekends and the federal holidays, how you can get the most out of your time.
Okay.
Also, so a lot of times, especially if you get those, days off, plan it around, a federal holiday and a weekend. So you get an extra day or two.
Yeah, without having to use your vacation days. That's smart.
Your
Any tips?
PTOs. And then the other thing, oh, sorry. And then the other thing is, travel off season. Travel off season. Don't travel, traveling, especially to Europe in the summer, is insane. You don't want to do that. Travel, if you don't mind the weather, travel in the winter. Oh my gosh. Europe in the winter, you can get into anywhere. It's cheap. The hotel prices go down. If you don't mind a little rain or a little cold, it's a great time to travel.
These are all things your travel advisor can tell you, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Any tips for people who have young children? Besides, don't take them.
No. I disagree there. You just want to be a little careful where you take them and how to travel with them. I took my daughter when she was 5 years old to Paris. Everybody thought I was crazy. Believe it or not, she's 23 now. She remembers the trip and still talks about it to this day. But I had to plan the trip through her eyes, not my eyes. I mean, she doesn't want to, she did not want to go to like the really great restaurants and eat escargot, or, she didn't want to go shopping and things like that. So I had to think about what would a child like to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did some amazing stuff. Like we went to this show where they did the puppets, like the old-fashioned French puppets, and all the kids were eating what they call barbe à la papa, which is, the cotton candy. And and I took her to the Eiffel Tower, but we did a pony ride and a merry-go-round ride in front of the Eiffel Tower. I took her on a boat ride. She loved that. She thought that was really neat. I took her to Champs-Élysées. Unfortunately, she wanted to go to the Disney store on Champs-Élysées, so I had to break down and do that. But I also found a hotel that was a pedestrian only.
Oh.
So she could kind of play in the street, and I didn't have to worry about her and traffic. So you kind of have to think when you're planning for a child, they're not going to go to a ton of museums. I did take her to a museum, but I made it fun, and we took it at a very short amount of time. So you kind of want to think, like a child or a tween or a teen, because they're not going to really want to do the same thing that you want to do. So you kind of have to keep that in mind so they don't get bored.
That's a really good point.
Because that's all you need.
Well,
yes. No, that's a really good point. And I think that probably gets...
Believe me, I've had bored kids on trips, and it's not fun.
it's not fun.
No.
No.
So I know you kind of mentioned this already, but what inspired you to focus your career on the luxury travel?
Well, okay. So I've been in business as a salesperson for many years prior to travel. And to be honest, the way it works in travel, I mean, you can try to be all things to all people and try to service 1,000 people. or you can take 100 people who do luxury trips and really give them the best service you can. And that's what I decided to do, because I like nice things. I like nice travel. When I was younger, I could have, I stayed at plenty of youth hostels and Airbnb, well, before Airbnbs, whatever they had back then. So I did do all that when I was younger, but as I got older, I realized I do love creature comforts. I do love a great 5-star hotel. So I sell the things I love, I promote the things I love, and I will not promote a hotel or a destination or anything that either I haven't done personally or a very trusted colleague. And when I mean very trusted colleague, it has to be somebody that has a very similar taste to me and my clients that I trust, or else I won't book it or I won't suggest it.
Good to know.
Yeah.
What is one piece of advice that you wish more people understood when it comes to this area of luxury travel?
It doesn't cost more to engage a travel advisor. It really doesn't. And in the long run, it will save you money, because we can, like, my clients get upgrades. My clients get usually food and beverage credits. My clients always get the best rooms. They usually get a gift, a bottle of wine, champagne. They always get free breakfast. So, I mean, when you add that all up, it really, and I've talked to plenty of hoteliers. If you book on like Priceline or any of them, you will never get the best room. You will never get the VIP treatment. There's no way. They're not going to do that for you. They want to work with the people that is sending them business and really creating relationships with them. So that's one of the things that we do bring to the table is, use a travel advisor. It's not going to really cost you more money in general. So
that's good to know, because I think people, they hear that and they're just like, oh God, I can just do it myself and save money and whatever. But that makes a lot of sense. You don't get the perks.
But again, you might be able to save a few pennies, but in the end, if you really want a really special experience, go with a travel advisor.
Yes.
They'll take care of you.
Good. A good one will, right?
Yes.
Yes. I like to think so. Like I said, I have most of my clients are repeat or referral. Almost, I would say 85%. So
that's awesome. So one final question.
It's pretty neat.
The last question we ask everybody. You want to ask her, Megan?
Yeah. What's the one item you can't live without in your day-to-day life?
My iPhone. My iPhone, because I do so much business. Even when I don't have my computer, I'm always checking my emails and my texts with my clients. So I think my iPhone, and I do all my photographing on there. I do my social media, So yeah, I would say my iPhone is probably the thing oh my gosh, I would die if I lost that.
I hope it never falls into an ocean.
Yeah, I hope. Don't jinx me. I'm going on a cruise in June, and that's the last thing I need. So
hang on to it.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much. This was a great
I will.
chat, and we will drop in the chat how you can get a hold of Catherine if you're looking or planning travel for this summer or next year, and you can connect with her so she can help you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Catherine.
I would love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.